I had to shut my windows because the birds are out in full force. I don't know. There's a storm coming, so I don't know if they're just pissed off and waking up, or I don't know. Anyways, hey everybody, Gisele Grenier here. So in today's video lesson, I haven't got a clue what I'm doing. I've been getting bored lately, and when Joe finds out I'm bored, he likes to throw challenges at me. So give me about 2 minutes to explain what I'm going to be attempting on doing. First of all, I love making little sized pieces of art, stuff that's this size. Absolutely love it. Well, instead today, I'm going to be working on a sheet. This is from a tissue box. Allergies are in full force. Got lots of these now. Tissue box. To make something like a tag or a bookmark. What's going to end up being made depends on how thick it is. Okay, so I'm not a... I like artist trading cards. Anyways, so the feature is this little granny. Oh my god, she's gorgeous. I love her. I love her. I picked up these paper dolls on Amazon. Absolutely love her. This is how I feel sometimes. I absolutely love her. So she's going to be on that. And I've went through my stash, and when I'm experimenting with dyes and paints and experimenting with how products work together, I put stuff aside because I don't want to throw it out. So that's going to be one of these things. I have no idea what's on it. And Joe picked out some stuff at the dollar store. So this is one of these little pieces, little chat box. And I've got my washi tape. And with Quinky Dinky, in my prints of people asking me to do stuff, Megan asked, "I love to see you do something with washi tape." So I figure I'm going to kill two birds with one stone. So I've got other washi tape, but this is the stuff that's black and white, stuff I really like. And I picked up this stuff on Amazon as well. I absolutely love this vintage stuff. So got that, so we'll see. And a new music stamp. And of course I'm comfortable with that. I'm comfortable with this, the Andy Skinner Mixed Media Stencil Bubbles. I've got some book paper, Mark Twain book paper, some deco art paper. This is the decoupage paper, Old World. I've got some nice papers in there. I've got a stencil. I don't know if I'm going to use all these. So this is the Doily Stencil. It's a mixed media stencil from Deco Art. And then the quotes. And the quotes were really... I'll pick the quote once this piece is done. And this is, what is this? Tim Holtz Ideology Clipping Stickers. That's that. Now for the good stuff, the paint. So let's see. I left my jar of matte medium. I didn't screw it all the way in, so I dried out. So I'm going to use the Traditions, Decor Traditions matte medium, and might as well use the white modeling paste. For the paint, I'm going to be using the Decor Art Media Fluid Acrylics, Titanium White, Carbon Black, Raw Umber, Burnt Umber, and Transparent Red Iron Oxide. And I'm missing a color. I don't know. I'll bring it out when I'm ready. And I'm using Carbon Black for the opacity. Otherwise, I would just make Chromatic Black with Burnt Sienna and Ultramarine Blue. And I'm going to be using the Deco Art Chalky Gesso. And I put it into a smaller tube to make it easier to manage. And for the stamp, I'm going to be using Stays On stamp. Any permanent stamp pad is fine. And then I'm not sure if I'm going to stick with this color. This is a Deco Art Metallic Luster. It's a wax metallic finish, iced espresso. I'm not sure if I'm going to stick with that color. I'm kind of liking it, but I might change the color. Parchment paper on the table, and I've got a couple of brushes. All right. Well, what's the first thing I'm going to do? I haven't got a clue. I don't know. Usually I like to take the stuff that's going to take the longest to dry and work with that. But let's see what happens. Oops. Oh, I hope my microphone didn't go off. Hopefully you guys can still hear me. All right. So this is the size I'm working with. So I'm going to look at the composition because I need to cut this down. Oh, Mia's here. Mia's here. Get my scissors. Oh, goodness. All right. So let's see. Thinking. I'm going to be painting the background anyway, so I'm thinking something like that. Actually, I want her further back. I want her further back. So just dry fitting everything to see how it'll work. And maybe I'll put the words right here. I thought maybe a little chat bubble here, but depending on the size of the quote might not fit. So this I might use, might not. Okay, so I'm thinking, oh, let's chop off. Let's see, I'm just trying to think of where. Let's chop off this part here because this looks rough. Right at the intersection there. Okay. Do that. Now, oh, one thing somebody asked me, hang on, let me just get it. Somebody asked me, how do you square a piece of paper that you cut with scissors, like to make it actually square? What I do is I wherever, it doesn't matter, the shortest end, I just make a cut. So what I do is I try to line it up as evenly as possible, and I trim off the least amount just to make a cut. Okay. Then what I do is I put that against the top, slide it over, and cut off just enough so it's even. And now that's square. That corner is square. I'll do the same thing here. Cut off just enough. And then do the same thing here and just cut off enough. That's it. And now this is a perfectly squared, corner squared card. When I say squared, I mean the corners are perfectly square. They're not off. All right, this piece of parchment paper is causing me grief. Okay, so I'm going to start off with the gesso, and it's time to do my nails. I should just use my fingers to put this on. And I'm just going to, now this is a slick surface. You could do a light sand on it first. So I'm going to put this on quite thickly. And then I'm going to wipe it back because I want to get some texture in there. Okay, and just wipe that back. So you guys ever feel sometimes when you want to create some art, you're feeling kind of apprehensive, in case it doesn't work out, what do you do and all that other stuff. Yeah, that's just your, I like to say, oh yeah, it's just your inner critic inside, telling you can't do it, and kind of creates a safe space for you saying, well, if it messes up, you already knew. That's a load of crap, and I like to say it's a load of crap. It's just, it's all a mindset thing. It happens to me all the time. All the time it happens to me. We are not perfect. So now I'm just going to, it just tacked up a bit, and I'm just going to push it in a little bit more. Whoops, that came off. Pad. And so it doesn't really matter which side I would have used. I would have just had to use more gesso on that one. This one, not so much. And I like the pattern. So we're going to let that dry, and then I'm going to put a layer of matte medium just to seal that. And that's only because the surface was a little bit slick. So normally I would have sanded it first, but allergies. And don't leave that stuff around. Okay. And I'll use the same dirty brush. It's just to create a layer, barrier layer. I love creating layers when I'm working with, especially like a vintage look, because that barrier layer allows more light to shine through with all the layers of paint. Okay, so that's all I need right now. And let's do some prep work. All right, put you aside. Let's prep this here. So I want to make text going straight across. So this one's kind of nice. So I'm going to pull towards me, which gives me that raw edge right there. Whoops, wrong way. I have to pull towards me. Okay, and I'll put that across, and I'm going to keep all that stuff. Let's just get a edge there. Okay, I'll put those aside. And just to show you, I've got a little container here of all these pieces that, you know, when I experiment with dyes and all this other stuff. So I've got, here, I want to show you guys. I know exactly who's going to really like this particular piece that I'm thinking about doing. I gotta kill time. I gotta let that dry. Where did it go? Oh, come on. Where did it go? It was a picture of Edgar Allan Poe. Seriously? Oh, I bet you Joe took it out because I love doing stuff with. Oh, he took it out. The bugger. The bugger. Okay. Well, it was a piece with Edgar Allan Poe in here. From this sheet. See? I already cut it out. Oh. But anyway, so I digress. You know what I'm doing? I'm procrastinating on doing this because I just, all right, so let's do this. Now, I'm going to, let's see, raw umber. And although these particular fluid acrylics are transparent or opaque, these ones here, because they're fluid, they are a little bit more transparent. Just putting them here so I know which one's there because they're so close together. Because, you know, my eyes aren't as good as they used to be. This is raw umber. Oh, you know what? These should be in reverse. Uh-oh. Now I'm going to get all confused. And then the white. All right. Takes care of that. So I'm going to paint this right now because I'm not sure. Let's just use some gesso. That was a lovely sound. Anytime we work with raw wood, I always gesso the piece or use multi-surface sealer. There's a piece of dried gesso on that. Because depending on the wood that you're using, the wood will swell and it might crack. Especially with mixed media, even if you use clear matte medium, just to get something on there, just to seal it. I'm just going to let that dry for a sec. All right, and these ones here, I'm going to stain these. And where's the matte medium? So because raw paper is usually pretty, like old paper like this is usually pretty delicate, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put matte medium on here just to stiffen it up a little bit. Because now this is what's sinking in the paper, not the paint. And because matte medium is like a glue, the fibers will be stuck together. And then I'll take some transparent red iron oxide and just put that in there. And a little bit of burnt umber. Where's my water? I'm gonna grab a little bit of water. I do have a cup of coffee, coffee that I don't like, sitting here. I was going to use that to stain the paper. I'm going to reserve that for another video. So I'm just going to mix that. See, just a light stain. And same thing here, transparent red iron oxide. And then a little bit of raw umber. But see what happens when this is where there's no matte medium, it just sinks into the paper. Whereas over the matte medium, it flows so much better. And I can, you know, just add a little bit more just to create that old look. I can use my fingers to wipe it down. Just make sure you wipe your fingers after, because this stuff is a really powerful glue. But just earth tones, nothing fancy, just earth tones. And then when that's dry, I'll come in and I'll apply some raw umber just to the edges. So that's going to take a bit to dry. Okay, what else can I prep? She's fine. Oh, this here. I'm going to apply some carbon black to both sides. And I wet my brush. And what this is going to do, it's also going to put some black along the edges, because I don't like seeing the raw paper on a die cut. That's just me. And a little bit more water. Yeah, just look at the pattern there. Could we do something with that pattern? That's still wet. That's still wet. My God, it's taking a long time. Take a card. Excuse me. Oh, look at that. That's kind of neat. Anytime I can reuse something, I will. And this parchment paper, this is just stuff from the dollar store. It's the Betty Crocker, where is it? I'm being asked to show more of the product so you guys know what it is. Just this stuff here. That's all it is. Silicone. Oh, goodness. Silicone stuff. Okay. And that's it. So now I have to just wait for everything to dry. So I'll be back in about 15-20 minutes. All right, so while I was waiting, I also painted the back with just gesso, so that'll save some time. Okay, so let's go with burnt umber and just do the edges. You can use a Q-tip, you can use, or a cotton swab, you can use you know, cosmetic sponge, whatever you want to use. And because we put matte medium on here, if I get too much on there, it wipes back really easy because it's not raw paper. It looks burnt. I actually wanted to do a burn, like an actual burn with fire, and Joe said no. Because if the grandkids are watching this, and I know I do have a lot of younger followers, they may get inspired to try it, and I don't want to be responsible for chaos. I actually like being responsible for chaos. It just gets people talking and discussing, but not that type of chaos. Ooh, I wonder if that should be my theme for this thing that I'm making. Be the change. Be chaos. Be... Don't be afraid of being yourself. Remember that saying, fake it till you make it? Oh, that is such a dangerous saying. You should be allowed to express yourself with respect. With respect. The common theme now when Joe and I are talking, I got to talk to, this is so tedious, is if we ever, or in conversation, if I ever talk to my parents like that, that's the thing, that we're quite shocked by how kids talk to their parents now, to their elders. It's quite disappointing. And you're walking on the sidewalk, and even now when Joe and I are walking on the sidewalk, oh, of course with the pandemic we have to give, the 6 feet of different distance, but even like if there's an elder walking down the sidewalk, we walk on the grass to give wide berth. But it's, you have, 2 or 3 kids coming on and they're straight across the sidewalk, they will not move, they will bang into you. And like no respect whatsoever. So I like the thought about, be yourself, but do it with respect. As long as it doesn't come to harm to anybody. All right. So, Ava and Wolf, if you're watching, no talking back. No, they're good kids. They're good kids. There we go. All right. That takes care of that. So, okay, you're ready to go. Okay, now when I'm painting here, if I get stuff on the back, I don't care, because this, I'm even thinking that this might be a bit wide for a bookmark. So I'm not quite sure. Maybe if it was on a board, it feels like leather now. This feels like beautiful leather. That's what that matte medium does. It makes it feel like leather. If it was on a board, it could actually go onto a piece of canvas. All right, so now I want to let me do some stuff back here. And I'm going to be doing some stenciling. Yeah, so let's just get that stuff. And I'm going to stencil with the white modeling paste. And of course, you know what that means? Drawing time. So let's get her started right about here. No, the bubbles first. No, this first. See, I told you I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing. Let's do that right about here. And I'm going to do this as quite a thin layer. Oh, something else somebody was asking about DIY modeling paste. I mean, there's a gazillion recipes online to follow. One, I think was it cornstarch? Cornstarch and school glue, I think was one. So just, do a Google search on that. For just your own art and experimenting in that, yeah, go ahead and do the DIY stuff, but unless it's been proven for long-term wear, it doesn't crack and all that other stuff, I avoid using that stuff in finished artwork, because especially if you're selling the stuff, you don't want the stuff to fall apart. If it's being given as a gift or if it's being purchased, you don't want that stuff falling apart. So if you've tested it, or if you're using a recipe that somebody's used already and it's been tested, that's your choice. But just ask yourself if it's worth the risk of your credibility. So just be careful. All right, are you clean? Yeah. And I'm going to, let's see, is this thin enough to hit with the heat gun? I should use the hair blower, but it's going to blow everything away. So I'm going to hold this up high. And if my hand gets too hot, I'll pull this even higher. But as my heat gun gets older, the heat is not as strong. And now I'm going to put this one on. And bubble, 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 bubble. Now I'm going to have to place this, so let's grab her. So I'm thinking that's actually pretty good. What I don't want is I don't want a tiny bubble like that overlapping half the thing, because there's a chance that it might chip off. So I like going with the bigger pieces like that. Okay, so let's do that. We're going to do that. So right around there. Like that. Knife. And I'm not going to go everywhere. And again, doing this one relatively thin. I'm going to do this one here. Oh, I'm putting, shoot, no, I'm putting a washi tape here. I'm just making sure I scrape so it's flat. It's hard to see right now because it's white. Put that aside. And I'm going to clean my stencils now fully. I would keep a those plastic, like a Tupperware container on the floor and just throw my stencils in there, but Chaos would always try to get into the water. And now Chaos isn't with us anymore, but Mia has taken to being interested in paint water. So now I'm back to having to stop filming and clean my stencils right after I use them. Okay, so now it's time to put the paint on. And then from there, we just glue everything together. So I'm just going to get my brush and get some water. And just going to spray some water into transparent red iron oxide, more in burnt umber. It's more the transparent red iron oxide. Nice and watery. You know what I would love to do? I don't know if it'll work, because I was inspired by this. I love that pattern. Ooh! And then if I, because once that modeling paste dries, it's waterproof. Oh. Okay, I really like that. I love that. All right, so I'm gonna, just to speed this up a little bit. And then paper towel and just blot, because it's going inside the crevices. And these paper towels here, you can use that for other art. So I'm going to dry that. Now this particular thing that I'm doing here, we're talking maybe 6, 7, 8 layers, and you can alternate paint and dry each layer in between. Now I've seen people do this with distress paint. You can, or distress ink, you can do that as well, but distress ink is not waterproof. That's why I use acrylics for everything. And I like that edge, so I'm just going to keep that edge there. This looks like a tea stain. Alright, I'm going to get a little bit more. Transparent yellow iron oxide, that's what I'm missing. Oh my goodness. Reach, reach, reach. That's what I'm missing. Love that one too. And let me get some more of the red. And quinacridone burnt orange. I didn't do that one either. Oh my goodness. What the heck's the matter with me? again, so I'm just going to keep doing this. I'm not going to fast forward or anything. I'm just going to keep doing this. And just to show you the transformation. Okay, so I got quinacridone burnt orange, and this is PR206, so this is actually a red base. And I don't need to rinse my brush either. I need to add a bit of water to that though. And all we're doing is staining. Now, this is actually staining on top of the modeling paste because it's raw. If you didn't want this to stick to, and I think I have to retract, I think where I said it was going inside. No. If you want the paint to stick to the actual paper and not the modeling paste, don't put the matte medium on the whole piece. Do the modeling paste. Okay, and then maybe put some gesso on top. What it is the paint is not sticking so much to where the matte medium is because I've got the matte medium is repelling it. I think I screwed that up. Hopefully I didn't confuse anybody. Hope I didn't confuse anybody. If I did, I'm really sorry. But this takes paint really nicely. And now I'm going to go with the transparent yellow iron oxide. And it's just layers upon layers upon layers. And then the transparent red iron oxide. There you go. And I'm going to blot. Again, there's no right or wrong way of doing this. You do it so it looks right for you. I think what I'll do is I'll do another project though with applying the gesso on the piece. But I love the irregularities on this. Just make sure you dry the paint in between. And if you put the modeling paste on and let's say it didn't dry or for some reason there's some parts that were pulling up, put a layer of matte medium on there as a sealer. Just make sure your paint is dry first. I'm liking that. That is really neat. Oops, I missed a corner there. Okay, so now that's finished. So I'm going to take now the raw umber. Actually, let me get another brush. Going to get my little DecoArt stencil brush. Let's just do it on here. Do that on the back. And just going to put this on. This is going to be 2 layers on the edge. And this I don't have the patience for this. I have to work this nice and slow. Down, 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 down. Because I always work too fast and then I get too much paint on there. So what we're going to do is once that's done, we're going to use the wax metallic to finish off the edge. And again, with that, you can use metallic paint. Doesn't matter. And now this is dry, so I'm going to come back and do another layer. And now I'm holding my brush at more of an angle to get more of the brush on the front of the card. I think I was off camera there, sorry. And I am going to put a layer of matte medium. I'm going to go into some raw umber because I'm out of burnt umber now. I am going to put a layer of matte medium on this. because everything that has to be glued, being done with the matte medium, I want to make sure that I put some on the front and on the piece, just to make sure it's nice and strong. Here we go. Beauty. Okay, so I'm going to dry that again. Because if the paint isn't dry and you start gluing stuff down, you're just going to be smushing around the glue. Do I need any more paint? I don't think I need more paint. This really, honestly, it has to be done now. Because I don't want to get this on the front of the card. If I do, though, it wouldn't be the end of the world. And dry that. Actually, let me blot that. Holding it this way, because if you hold it this way, then the paint might seep over. Oh, I like that. Paint might seep over. Love that. Basically covering that up. You know, if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I'm not worried about it. Go on, let me just dry that. And now we're going to start gluing. We're going to start gluing stuff down. So what I want to do with this, first I'm going to move this stuff out of the way. And I didn't even use the white, I don't think. Fold that over. There. And I'm going to get the pieces in my hands. Ugh. Would this look vintage enough though? That's really going to be the only black thing on here. I'm going to decor media interference. It works best if painted on black. So this stuff here, absolutely beautiful. Oh, I should have blotted more on my brush. That's okay. Create a nice shine to that. Okay, let that dry. All right, so stop changing your mind. I'm going to get a sip of coffee first. Espresso in the morning. Oh, okay, so washi tape. Okay, so Megan, I'm going to use my washi tape. Which one? I have no idea. Which one? I have no idea. I like that text, but it's going the wrong way. I like the skull. What else have we got here? Measuring tape. Oh, let's just use this little bit of text. You know what? That's not going to make any sense. I'll have to overlap it. I'm going to do this one first. I'm going to do this one first. And then that one there. Okay, so let's do this first. I told you guys I didn't know what I was doing. But, you know what? That's okay. That's totally okay. That's how I'm going to learn. But what it is just being too comfortable. Being too comfortable doing the stuff that I'm always comfortable with doing. If you don't try new things, then you're not learning. And I am proud to say I am a lifelong learner. My mornings are, I spend half an hour just watching YouTube videos or doing coursework in courses that I take. The courses I take are they're just business courses, but you know, it's education in the morning. Like I'm talking in the morning, like between 5 and 6 a.m. All right, let's put a little bit more on there. Let's do that. Put that on there. I'm actually experimenting with doing, Joe and I started another business. It's more for him. I'm doing all the marketing for it. It's called Sliver of a Tree, and it's not up yet, but it's basically where it's his where he does his pen turning, and he makes jewelry and stuff. Yeah, Joe makes jewelry and stuff. All on the lathe. Everything, every single component has wood in it. Okay, so I'm gonna let that dry, and then I'll put, I don't want to put washi tape on there, but I have to satisfy Megan. What's this one? Oh, little gears and cogs. I like that. Oh, this is frilly stuff. I'll use this one. I'll put that one on there. So I'm going to let that dry. And then, actually, I can put this on right now. I don't need to wait. So, let me show you before I put the matte medium on there. So that's what that interference. Hopefully the microphone didn't pick up a whoosh. Now the matte medium will dull the finish a little bit on this. I'm not overly worried about it because this isn't the main focus. And when I put her on there, she'll hold that flat. Like that. Okay. Okay, I gotta let this dry and we'll come back when it's ready. All right, so I trimmed that down. I'm gonna have to edge that again. I'm gonna put this really pretty washi tape on the edge, like a little offset border. Okay, oops. That's kind of pretty. All right. Kind of pretty. It is pretty. Kind of pretty is too indecisive. Okay, Megan, there you go. There's the washi tape. Oh, I did not like doing that. What's the worst that can happen? It's just paper, for God's sakes. It's just paper. Oh my God. And I'm thinking now, where's my raw umber? I'm going to use raw umber. So that was one thing that I forgot to remember, that when I cut this off, I was going to have to do that again. Let's try this time using little kitchen wipe to apply it. Okay, so I'm going to use this as an opportunity for learning. Oh, I like that. Actually, this is not an opportunity for learning. I've already done this before, but not over washi tape. Okay, so I can't really get that feathering effect with this, but that's okay. So I'm going to put all of this. Oh, I like that. I like that. As I'm putting it on, it's a single layer. As I'm pushing it, what's happening is that the wipe is so. How am I going to explain this? As I'm pushing this, the paper is going. It's indenting in my finger. Oh my God! And it's going on the front and the back. Sometimes I have so much trouble expressing what I want to say. Oh, baby wipe. There's a little too much there on the edge. Okay, so kitchen wipe, meh. Not a fan. Okay, let me get... I know this will work. Cosmetic sponge. Really load this well. Yep. And there's so many different ways you can do this. You can pounce. You can... Another way is going inwards. And when you're going inwards, it's making it heavy on the outside edge and feathering it out. And I can just go over it a little bit to knock that back. Oh, I'm liking that. Going right over the washi tape, setting it back. Oh, I get so excited about some things, I tell you. Nice. I'm going to knock this back a little bit more too. And by not going, oh, okay, this is doing it. This is doing it. Just by setting it back just a little bit more. That was my phone that went off saying, time to take your blood pressure. We're almost finished. So I'm just going to keep going. But because there's matte medium on here, I can really move this stuff around. And because she's so light, I don't want the background, I don't want it to be so light. And because there's already color on top of where I did the paint drips, this is just going to intensify that depth. And then what I could do is put another layer of matte medium, add more color, and every layer that I put the matte medium, because these paints are more translucent than the regular, like the Decor Traditions, is that more light shines through and makes it more luminescent. Where's a transparent red iron oxide? Just a drop of that. Just for a little bit more contrast. Really want to make that contrast around her dress. See how she really stands out versus what it was before? Oh, wow, okay. See, now if I wouldn't have done that experiment, the testing and trying it with this, I wouldn't have learned what I could do with this. Don't be afraid to try. Like I said, what's the worst that can happen? Except like a few weeks ago, I did painting on an actual starfish. That was the only one I had. That was stressful because if I screwed it up, I only have the one. But again, what's the worst that can happen? I just repaint it. No big whoop. What else have I got? Oh, you know what I didn't use? I didn't use the stamp and I didn't use the DecoArt paper. Will this paper contribute to the theme? The color's right. But no, so I'm not going to use that. I am going to use the stamp though. Let me just make sure this is fully dry. Now I know there's artists out there that could have whipped this off in like 10 minutes. That's not the way I work. I let the piece kind of guide me. It's not woo-woo. I let the piece kind of guide me to how things are being done. Gone are the days where I set off, it must look like this. And I don't do that anymore. That's what commissions were for. Oh, I need a block. I need a block that's full of paint. No, you know what? No. I don't need a block. Because I'm not stamping over everything. There, that's all I'm doing. Okay, wipe that back. Oh, and, oh, what's her name? Okay. Carol? Gave me a tip when I'm using that stays on is paper towel, because it's really easy. Paper towel and 70% rubbing alcohol, and just dab, and it cleans the stamp right away. Because this one's a deep stamp. Oh my goodness. Is that actually... Oh no, that's the ink from the back. It gets everything off. So if Carol, if you weren't the one that, or if the person that gave me that tip, if your name's not Carol, leave me a comment below. Because I don't remember. Sorry. I feel bad when I get some amazing tips from you guys and I don't remember who it was. Okay, so I think we're done with all that stuff. Let's glue this down. And I just realized I put this backwards. This should have been more over here, but that's okay. That's okay. Could we put her off and cut her? No, I don't know if I want to do that. We could have her sticking out like this. I want to make sure there's room. Well, there will be room right here. So let's put her down. Now, for gluing this down, you can really use anything you want. Decoupage medium, matte medium, glue. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put matte medium over the whole back of this piece. And I guess I could have edged that. And I'm going to take some matte medium and put it all over the card, which will make it even stronger, thicker, barrier layer. Make sure that, especially around this thing here, and by patting the matte medium like this, I'm going to create that extra translucent texture on there. It's not going to be flat, and with the translucent texture, it's going to even further intensify the feeling of leather. I'm still thinking I should put something there. No, let's just put her there. It's the contrast is a little strong, but I'm just going to do it because this is now, it's a comfort zone thing. And I was also thinking I could have put just pop dots under her dress, and she would have, like right now, the glue where she's stuck to is the tops of this, and which is fine. Like her dress is sticking up a little bit, which is totally fine. Look, she's looking three-dimensional. As long as the majority of her is glued down, then that'll be fine. So can I use this as a bookmark? Yeah, if I put her between two sheets of parchment paper or freezer paper and then put her in my book press. that will work. Okay, I'm just going to grab the excess now and create extra texture around everything else. And all that's left now is the quote and to put the metallic around the edges. So, what should I use for a quote? I'm going to take a few minutes to think about this. And oh yeah, so when you're doing something with vintage, I love using the DecoArt Duraclear High Gloss Varnish, but because this is vintage, it's going to typically be a matte finish, so I'm not going to do anything with that. Do I want to use a bubble on that? If the quote fits, maybe I will. But now I just have to find something that is going to be relevant to this. So Granny in a ballerina outfit, be who you are, is something like I really want to. She Could Believe is good. To Take Me by Surprise is another one. Hidden by the Shadows. No, we don't want to be hidden. We want to stand out and be ourselves. So I'm going to continue to look for this, and when we come back, this will all be dry, and then I'll either figure out whether or not to use this. We'll create the edging, and then we'll do the quote. Okay, I found my quote. It's not the perfect quote. So I'm just going to take whatever's left over in my sponge and just put it on here. I'm going to make this much darker. Let me get into, what do I want for contrast? Let's make it really dark. Let's use burnt umber. That'll tie this here. What would happen with burnt umber and then the interference gold? What would happen, I wonder? What would happen? Okay, let me... And by doing this stamp thing, it'll also give it an old look. Because these little quotes, the quote that I picked is one of the light ones. It's not the perfect quote, but it symbolizes what she's doing. Perfectly happy. I didn't see anything here that was dancing. Oh, The Music of My Heart. Oh, that one might be better. I don't know if it'll fit though. Okay. All right, so get that in there. Just looking. Nope, some of the wood is still showing through. Okay, just gonna dry that. Now let's see what happens. Oh, is that ever cool? The interference, it takes more of a brassy look. Oh, is that ever neat? It's more brassy. I love that. How cool is that? You don't want to add too much of this. You have to let it dry. Whoops. And no globs. Whatever you do, no globs. That's kind of neat. All right, so let's put this on there. Actually, I'm going to put the stickers on here first. Music of My Heart. I wonder if that'll fit. Yep, if I cut it. Oh my goodness. Take my glasses off. Okay. Holy moly. Okay, too small. Too small. Just going to put a little bit of color on the edge. just a little bit. The music. Oh, there she is. Of my heart. That's too small. Now these are adhesive. You could always put some glue behind that as well. Now what I'm going to use for my glue, now this can't be used as a bookmark anymore. So I'm going to use the liquid glass, but oh, let me do this first. So I'm going to get another piece, kitchen cloth. And I'm going to use some of this iced espresso. Yeah, that's got a little bit of shine to it. I don't want it to be blingy. But I just want to put that little edge. This is the accents that you're putting on. This feels so much like leather. Oh, I love it. So I've got the edges done now. Now I'm going to come back and I'm just going to lightly go over where I did the stenciling, just to, it'll pick up just a little bit of this. Whoopsie. And I like using a cloth because what it does is it polishes at the same time. So wherever there's an edge, and I love how her dress is just curling up. See? And if the wax metallic dries out, just add a little bit of water to it and let it sit for a little bit. There we go. Just a little bit. And then rub, 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 and then polish. And then you can, if you want, to come back with another layer of matte medium to seal everything in. There we go. I'm going to use liquid glass now to glue this down. Liquid glass I love as the glue because it is so strong, but you can also use this for some dimension to raise the piece up. I'm not going to push hard on this. I am going to put a lot on there, but I'm not going to push it down because I don't want it to spew out. Right there. On an angle. That's it. She's done. Here you go. That's really pretty. Okay, so do I have something a little bit nicer paper to, a little bit of a nicer paper. Hang on, let me just put this here. There we go. So yeah, so this was challenging for me. So many different things in there that I'm not comfortable doing, but it turned out pretty good. I really like it. And I was kind of hoping for it to be a bookmark, but you know, c'est la vie. So what did I learn from this? I learned a ton of, basically experimenting with how to put the color on the edges and the layering. And in the beginning where I put the matte medium on there, then the modeling paste, where the paint that I put on stuck to the modeling paste and repelled off the background. Where what I should have done was actually put a layer of gesso. I will try that next time. using burnt umber with using burnt umber with the interference gold. Beautiful, beautiful leather looking, kind of shimmering. I love that. What else? The thing with the washi tape, I need to think of that as, not so much just a trendy thing to use. The washi tape really, what it is transparent, a transparent accent. So think of it like the book paper. Think of book paper that's transparent. And this is where, I can't wait to use this one. When it gets wet, it looks translucent. Love her. I would love to have done another piece with her. That she was the only one in the package. So that's that. And yeah, and then of course with that. So I'll put some matte medium on there just to protect that in the back. And the look of the matte medium with the Decor Traditions, Decor products are all interchangeable. I love the feel of leather. It feels like leather. I absolutely love it. Thinking now, this would be beautiful as a book cover. Absolutely beautiful as a book cover. Maybe not so much with this chipboard little die cut piece here, but this would be beautiful as a book cover. And that might, lead me to another book of backgrounds. I have the baby book of backgrounds. Maybe I'll do something on that. But let me know in the comments below what you would have done different. So you're presented with a piece of cardboard, exactly the same elements, a piece of cardboard, chipboard chat box. That's not dry yet. The lady and some of the little pieces. What would you have done differently? Share your comments below. I would love to hear from you. And if there's a particular project you'd like to challenge me on, let me know in the comments below. Or better yet, even just send me an email. You can go to artplace.ca, click the contact, and send me an email on that. I read all my emails, and we'll leave it at that. So once she's all dry, I'll just come in with another layer of matte medium around there just to give it matte medium on this side to give it another layer, and she'll be finished. All right, so I hope that you enjoyed this project and learned something. And until I see you next time, stay inspired.